Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, right on, mate. You're here. Cool.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Rock and
Yeah.
roll.
Should
Right
be
on.
an interesting one. We're waiting for the old Right Honourable Marius to turn up.
Of course.
Ironic, isn't it? He's the one prodding us and he's late.
I there he is.
Speak to the devil and he will appear.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to be known. It's good to be known.
Isn't it just? Isn't it just?
Hello, gents.
Hello. I'm laughing to myself then, and none of you know why I'm laughing. Earlier on, I had a conversation with the missus in the car, and it was the observations of some bizarre stuff. In fact, I might as well tell you, hello, everybody. Welcome to the House of Lords. This is episode 11. I don't know what we're going to be discussing, but I'm opening it up like this. I go by the name of Carl. We have the Right Honourable Yanni and the fabulous, sensational Marius. And, where was I? Sat in the car. Right, check this out, guys. Sat in the car. Right, I don't usually do mainstream anything anymore, but the missus has gone to check on something, and I'm sat in the car and the radio's on, and it was Radio 1, and they were talking about some big event coming up, right? Some drag race coming up, right? So I'm sat there and thinking, oh, that's different, you know, drag race, you know, a bit muscle cars. That sounds interesting. That. So I'm sat there, I'm listening to it, right, and it weren't no drag race at all. It's some big prancing drag queen event, right? And I sat there and I'm speechless. And my miss gets in the car and says, "What's up?" And I said, "Is it me or has humanity climbed so far up Satan's arsehole that he's chewing his food?" That's where I was. Anyway, I don't know why that came into my head. How have you guys been?
What can we say after that?
I don't know. Whatever you want. Seems like the rest of the world can.
As soon as you said drag race, I was like, okay, it's going in that direction, isn't it?
I didn't know it was going in that direction. I was quite happy, just cool, sat in the car, thinking, drag race. You know, I haven't been to one of them for a long time. You know, the old power cars and everything. I got like my granddad head on. I thought that'd be quite nice. Yeah, what's all this about it? And then, like I said, I carried on to listening. It turns out it's some big fairy queen parade. I don't know what it is, but.
Oh yeah, I came across it was a video on Instagram about all these Taylor Swift and her latest shows and how they're all like satanic ritual and all sorts and witches, and I'm like, what? And then the guy shows clips from all of those events, and I was like, oh, that's beautiful.
But wait a minute, gentlemen. Do I detect? Is this a position? Is this a position that we're standing in before we go along? Because you do realise, right, that and I'm sorry for cutting in and stuff. First of all, gentlemen.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not actually sorry for cutting in. I cut in on purpose, actually. Reason being is because I'm not sorry. And oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why Marion said no, you're not, is because what he means is I'm not a sorry mess in the corner doing fuck all. That's exactly what he means by me saying sorry. I'm not sorry, because I'm not a sorry mess in the corner. I'm actually a vibrant, live, energetic being sitting in front with these fellas here. So no, I'm not sorry. And now that I've explained that, I fucking lost what I was going to say. But, I was about to do something else. The reason why I jumped in.
Taking a position.
The reason why I jumped in is because, are we taking position? Because you do realise, right, that, for example, I heard somebody mention, like, you know, Satan's arse and this, that, and the other, and you've got all these bunch, and you've got all these Satanists, right? And they're just like, whoa, that was close. that was almost close. That was so close, man. I nearly was there. Anyway, you know. But when you look at, for example, you look at religion, right? Well, isn't that their religion? I mean, just because it's the fucking dark side doesn't matter. It's their religion, right?
Oh, I already like where he's going with this one.
Right? I'm just curious. I could be. Look, you guys can correct me whenever you feel like it. But from what I'm hearing, and even I might even catch it within myself from time to time. But as you guys are constantly badgering me, not badgering me in a negative way, ladies and gentlemen, but in a very positive way, guiding and nurturing, and and my conversation with them allows that to rub off on myself. So I'm coming back to these gentlemen and saying, so what position are we taking then? Because what's going on with Satan?
All right, that's a very good question. I have to bring to the forefront the fact that I wasn't necessarily taking a position. It was an observation of the situation thus far. But in relation to the proposal of taking a position, well, in this instance, I suppose I could certainly say I'm not a Satanist. Right. I don't adhere to
Prove
any
it.
of
No,
that.
I'm joking.
Prove it. Right? But that's a fair point.
Yeah, honey, take the silver cross out and the garlic, please. Yeah.
But there is that paradox, isn't it?
Right.
If it's nothing more, I see where you're going, Yanni, right?
Yeah.
If there's nothing more than choice, right, and the universal creative force that animates all life is animating all life.
All life.
All life. You see, so that spectrum of judgment, or where one wants to place themselves on this cosmological expressive scale, I would lean towards a more illuminated end.
Right. This is a question that would maybe some of the listeners may come up with. Is okay. So, but if you take no position, what does that mean? Does it mean we let the world just go crazy, go wild? What do you mean by that, Carl?
Well, are we letting the world go crazy and quiet? Are we letting by that?
You're asking me what I mean.
But he's asking you, yeah. He's asking you.
Repeat the question again, Mary. Sorry.
Well, I was like, sitting where you're saying, I was like, oh, this was presented, this question. Someone may say, well, but if we take no position, do we mean that we just allow the world to go crazy and everyone do whatever they want? And what are we saying?
Well, see, when you hear me, or when I reference about no position in this instance, right, there's more to our lives than what meets the eye. There's more to our lives than just the physical mundanity, the mundanity of it all, right? The work, rest, repeat saga, right? There's more to it than that. And cosmologically speaking, energetically speaking, the opening kind of expression was that universal force that animates all life, right? So fundamentally, there is no good, there is no bad, there's only interpretation of action. And it comes down to you, the individual, on how you're decoding and seeing that act, which is tricky for some people because they see some acts as absolutely abhorrent, myself included. But it comes down to a cognitive choice of what I'm willing to accept or not.
You see,
so I was going to say, in the instance to what you're saying, do we just sit back and let the world, or people run amok? Are they not already?
There you go.
This phrase was presented. You gentlemen know it very well. Is the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Now,
so said the monkey to the fish. Kindly let me help you and put you in this tree, or you'll drown.
So said the scorpion to the frog to cross the river, right?
Right.
And I was like, because he had mentioned about isn't that a religion? It's all right. Fair point. Now, what it was like presented to me is the fact that what about all the other religions that some people may be made to believe, which rightly so, that the do good, and they become blind to what's happening behind the scenes within their own garden,
Right.
so to speak.
Right. So, question is, does it make... So question is, are they aware of their gardens in the first place? Secondly, I'm actually trying to get to this one spot, but weirdly enough, my computer decides that one screen that should be on automatically and quickly, it's not going to do that right now. No, what we're going to do is going to piss about, right? Because we can, yeah. We're gonna make it sound as if it's all unprofessional. We're gonna go fuzzy, so I can't actually go and look up the information that I was going to inform everybody with and present it. So guess what we're going to do? I'm going to let you guys carry on here, right? So carry on, Marius, with what you were saying, because I can't chip in with what I was wanting because my computer's
Okay, well, I will come to what we discussed in the live, for example, about this interview of Putin by Tucker Carlson, right? And there was a question there from a point of Tucker Carlson asking Putin if, as him being a Christian, is it right for a leader that's considering to be a Christian to, take such decisions that may involve in killing others?
Right.
And when that question was presented, I didn't probably give it justice to the way it was asked, but anyone can go back and listen to the interview. But at that particular point, I was presenting with the fact that, okay, but how was Christianity introduced to the people back in the day? So they say, I wasn't alive then, or probably I was in a different lifetime, who knows. But what we see from what is being written, so many books, back in the day, it was enforced, and there were even people being killed if they weren't actually signing up for it, right?
Well, check this out, brothers. Check this out. So I found the little piece, and it's just a little clip. It's not even a clip. It's just a post. It's just a piece of like a picture, but it has everything in it. And you were talking about the Christianity, right? And a lot of people.
It's not that we're picking on Christianity.
No.
First
of all,
I'm Christian Orthodox I'm not Christian. I was born and raised in a Christian.
Yeah, I was raised in a. Right, I was raised in a Christian environment in a Seventh-day Adventist religion. That's what I was raised in. So we're not knocking. So first of all, no one, don't even go there. No, that's not to my colleagues. That's to you lot out there. Don't even go there. So what I was going to say was that I pulled this thing up, and a lot of the religions, it's almost as if they feel it feels like it started eons and eons and eons. It feels like it started from the beginning, right? When you think about it, when you're first introduced to a Bible or a religious study of some sort, unless they're being specific and it's a historical event that's being referenced, i.e., years and so forth being named, in the numbers being named.
Right.
It's normally you get this sense that it started a long time ago. To have all of this wisdom, this knowledge in the book, it started from the beginning. When you're expressing things like the tablets were found by this person and such were found by this person, right? The 10 Commandments were found by this person, right? So you think it's from the gods, it's from back then. Before we got here, it was here, ready to go. We just had to. But the reality of it is somewhat slightly different. Now, the Christianity's been around quite a bit. It's like you're talking about. Well, the first Council of Nicaea was 325 AD, right? And that is where you can, it was like that was when the first Christian emperor was about. So you can vaguely surmise that around that point it turned up, right? AD, right? So after Christ come, right? But all the others who also classify themselves as Christians, those people that go to the Baptist Yeah, those are part of the Baptist religion, right? The people who are part of the Pentecostal religion, okay? The people who are part of the Mormon religion, right? And then the people who are part of the Jehovah's Witness religion, and the people who are part of the Seventh-day Adventist religion. When you ask them what are they say they're Christians, right? That's what they say. I'm a Christian. You know, my very own mother, my brother, they're Seventh-day Adventists, staunch. You know, they're in the church doing loads of amazing things for loads of people. The Seventh-day Adventists, right? Seventh-day Adventists, they're Christians, okay? But then I was wondering whether people knew about some of the heritage of those things. You know, the fact that they are actually man-made, right? Like Psalms 147, 19 to 20. You know, take a look at that. What I was going to say was, you know, look, for example, the Baptist religion was created in 1608. Does any of our listeners know that? By a gentleman by the name of John Smith with a Y. And then you've got the Pentecostal. Now, when I was young in London growing up, Pentecostal churches were the ones where you walked past and you heard people singing, you heard like gospel, but you heard energy, you heard people praising, but singing, music, man. All my friends who were in bands, who came out of the Pentecostal church, they were badasses, man. When they became producers, they were badasses, man. But that's the Pentecostal church. 1901, by a guy by the name of Charles Parham, right? And it sort of continues on with the rest of them, you know, Seventh-day Adventist, you know, William Miller, and that was in 1863. And so when you look at that and you say, oh, look at those, I'm looking at 5 men who decided that whatever was going on, whatever religious aspect was happening in their time, it clearly wasn't the way they were thinking. So it's just an example that I put here. Hopefully I didn't sidetrack anything. It's just an example that I put here for the listeners to think for a moment and say, huh, what?
No, there was good addition to actually, you know, some data there. I want to go back to when I refer to looking into your own garden, right? Because it's like a metaphor sort of thing, right? There was one of those stories apparently. A traveler was just going by and suddenly notices a beautiful garden, and the gardener was in the garden working his garden, and traveler wanted to speak to the gardener and went there and said, oh, God gave you a beautiful garden. And the gardener looks back at the traveler and said, well, you should see how the garden looked when it was only in God's hands. So the thing is, from that, I took it from a way like, we've been given everything. It's up to us how we look after it. Now, when I mentioned the garden, if you don't take care of it, the weeds are taking over, right? You have to go and pick the weeds, take it out. Well, some of them we've been said that they are weeds, but actually they're very good medicine. That's another story to go into, right?
We'll put that one on the pin board for later.
There you go, Carl. You got it? But, you know, for the garden to look beautiful, what the gardener was mentioning, well, I had to work with God. I had to work the garden to look in the way it looked. And it's the same with, if you look from religion. Now, most religions, if not all, have good intentions, where apart from the one that you mentioned at the beginning, probably. I don't know. Right? But there is a lot of good intentions. There's good people, actually, that are signed up for these religions. But unfortunately, there's always the one that has a different agenda. And the one becomes 2, and the 2 becomes 4, and the 4 becomes 8. And then it infiltrates. It's like the cancer when it starts spreading in the body.
Do we know where that comes from?
What?
What do you mean?
The one. Where does that one come from? You just because you said it, and everybody listening can relate. Everything's cool, and then one person comes along. Where they come from?
It's already here.
Yeah.
You, Iani, are the one. Marius is the one. Yeah. Universal consciousness is the one.
So are we destined to always trip ourselves up?
Well,
I wouldn't say always at all. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I wouldn't say that at all.
Are we destined to trip ourselves up at some point?
I would say it seems to be a human impunction to learn from its failures.
Okay.
well, if we take it from a consciousness point of view, Carl, that you mentioned that, what about that is the fact that if the human race, as we've been called, I don't know why we've been called the human race, instead of just the beings, if they become dormant and miss the point of what their purpose is, meaning, then they have the so-called agitators to get them back on becoming more aware that they are going the wrong way.
That's just it, right? There ain't no wrong way.
There you go.
You know what I mean? There ain't.
Yeah.
Fucked up. No, you didn't. You made a choice. You went through with it, and it didn't have the desired outcome that you intended for it to happen. By the rest of the world, they'll say that's a bad choice. You, by the outcome and weighing up the value of the outcome, it may have been not the best decision, but it was a choice that you made, and you followed through. You know, there is what's the saying? There's no thing that happens for no reason.
Right.
All things happen for a reason.
What to explain a little bit in the fact that I said, the wrong way, which fair point, what you mentioned, Carl. There is no such thing as a wrong way. It's the fact that what you brought to the attention about the choices. We can be the ones that actually can terminate the human race or flourish, nourish, and take the human race, the beings further. It's left to our choice.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree, especially with the last bit there. It's choice. But if we look back throughout the geological record, the sediment deposits and all the rest of it. If we look at the calamitous biblical global events that have happened, that have wiped out millions of people at a time, eradicated entire empires from the face of the map, buried continents under rivers of mud, right? And we're still here. We've been dropping uranium bombs on each other. We've been dropping atom bombs, nuclear bombs. We're frying our brains with Wi-Fi, the toxification of the food. And you know what? For every human being, right? Let's say all those that are doing the Lidls, the Asdas, the all of the supermarkets, doing all that freaking bargain foods and all the franking foods, right? Let's say, right, their lifespan is dwindled to half and they die at 60, right? There's still 1 million people somewhere that are as healthy as oxes. I kid you not. As raw and as organic as nature provided them to be. They're climbing the trees, they're speaking to the animals, they're living in complete harmony with their environment. Right, so this idea that one moronic individual is going to come around and say, I'm going to destroy the world, you can do what you're doing. The world's always going to be here, right? The world's had planets smash into it, right? And here it is, right? There's calamitous upheavals from pole shifts and everything else, ripping continents apart, the very guts of the earth falling out, thrust into darkness for 1,000 years, life hung on by a mere mortal, right? And here it is, umpteen God knows how many eons later, and there's Wi-Fi and TV and drag racing, right? It's all there. You know what I mean? So this idea that, oh, we need to wake somebody up, we need to be the catalyst for somebody else, right, is almost it's bigging yourself up, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not you personally, but that's what it's doing. It's like, look, you're still there. Let me show you. Right? You're no better than that person. None of us are. We're no better because we've been that person. And on the quantum field, we are that person.
Yep, we are.
Right.
You know, so looking at evolution as life evolves, depending on the severity or abundance of its environment,
Right.
It lives.
Yeah.
It lives, and it's this idea, right? It's this idea that this one life, my life, is important, and I've got to sustain it and make it last forever, right? That's the hook. That's the trap.
Yeah.
Right. This idea that, you know, I get 14 years and I've got to do this and this in them 2 years, and by this age, right, I've got to be able to sit down with my pipe and my grandkids. Nonsense. You want to skateboard at frigging 85 and your body's still jiving because you've never really kind of seen yourself as old, right?
Then you're good to go.
Then good to go. Crack on. You want to go skydiving? I mean, we all know somebody right now that's in his 60s, right, and banging out children.
Yeah.
Who knows what life's going to happen? I don't know if tomorrow's going to be my last day. I really don't. But I don't need to buy into some kind of constructed religion and have a go-between me and a divine purpose.
Right.
I am that divine purpose.
Yep. That's why you're there. That's why you're there. You know,
that's it in a nutshell.
that's why
I
you're there.
am that divine purpose. I am the Messiah that I am waiting for. And this
Yeah.
isn't the Messiah complex. It's just recognizing the divinity that was within. And if that's what we are, eternal consciousness, energy beings, then the idea of this kind of, you know, this thing, it's what it is. It's playtime. It's in between lessons. It's let's go and have some fun. Let's go play.
Recess, exactly.
It's recess. That's what it is.
Exactly.
One space to another. If it is said, right, in certain circles, you know, if you don't learn the life lessons within this life with the soul's agreement, then you are destined to come back again and go through the same arduous Groundhog Day until your soul kind of grasps what it needs to do to expand into the next lesson.
Right.
And that's all it is. But equally, it could be completely something else. You know, I can sound very assured. I can come across as very, this is what it is. But it's whatever you want it to be.
Exactly.
That's the point that people don't think. They ain't, oh, you're right, I'm wrong. In relation to faith or spiritual development, you know, if Satan brings you as much peace as Jesus, right, then crack on. If both of these entities, right, or both of the personas of worship, right, bring you a sense of peace within who you are, high fives. There you go.
That's it.
You feel like you're going somewhere after you die because you're worshipping, putting your energy into someone. Cool. And this is the thing about the old Satan Bible. You actually go through that. Some people go, I'm not reading that, right? If you were an advocate of knowledge, right, on my bookshelves, I've got divinity and love and light and all that kind of shit, right? And I don't mean to put the shite on there, but what walks hand in hand with all that is the Crowleys, the Satanic Bible, the Satanic Witch, the Book of the Law, etc. Right? Because you need to understand both sides of the game. You know, you can't be beguiling something, cussing something if you don't have no comprehend of it. If it's all sort of like smoke and mirrors, it's all done in dark rooms. Well, pick up the book. What they're reading about. Yeah. You know, the same enthusiasm that you put into wanting to know about Agenda 2030. Look about the people that are actually pushing Agenda 30 and why they do it, right? Because you talk about, oh, they've got no conscience, they've got no soul, they've got this. Of course they have. We all have. We're universal consciousness expressing itself in a rather unique way. They're no fucking different than you or I. So what gives them the ability to walk through life feeling quite happy and content with the stuff that they're doing? Yeah. What gives them that comprehension? Well, this particular book. Well, let's have a look at that book. then you go through that book and you go, okay, that's a religion. Certainly it's a religion. There is a deity of worship. There is a particular doctrine. And fundamentally, it is be present in whatever it is that you're doing. Love one. It actually is that. Treat people fucking well and all the rest of it. It's got all that in there. But if you're going to indulge in the rather nefarious aspects, be present.
Carl, you mentioned doctrine. What do you mean by that?
Particular practices, particular ideologies.
Yeah, it is. Be present. In fact,
this was presented as the fact that how would you know one without the other? How would you know one without the other? You know, when we talk about the human aspect of good and bad, or progressive or regressive from consciousness point, or dark and light, how would you know one without the other? People say, well, to be a world where everyone is the same, or is that such a case? How would you know happiness without sadness? How would you know, love without hate? How would you know any of it without having the contrast, the opposite?
Well, exactly. So why? I mean, really, when people do that, when they say, "Oh yeah, world without this, a world without that,"
but I don't mean that they drop the person to say no, I'm not part of it. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, as you mentioned at the beginning, satanic maybe in its own right, its own religion. That doesn't mean I have to sign up for it. Excuse me.
No.
I have a choice here.
My whole the reason why I actually referenced it in the very beginning was because if people want to be balanced and level and stuff, then you can't be knocking that either. Doesn't matter how it makes you feel. It doesn't matter how your head's twisted by it. It doesn't matter how you clearly don't know that much about it, because if you knew more, you'd learn that what Dapper mentioned. You know what? Like, people don't get that Lucifer's a perfectionist.
As a parent,
right?
As a parent,
it's just something to consider. Like, there's a certain, as dark as people want to go there, there's just as much light there. That's what's really messed up.
One thing that I want to bring is the fact that because some people say, yeah, but they are indoctrinating our children. Okay,
who's they?
One second. Who's they? Well, the other side, whatever the other side may be, right? That's what they, I would say, in this equation is the side that it's not looking at the same values when it comes to life, right? Let's put it that way. So
but
it's
where are the children in this aspect?
One second.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, let me finish the point.
Sorry.
So it's like, they want to do this, they do this to our children. And I had a discussion with my daughter, and I said to my daughter, okay, do you think if someone wants to rob you, will come and say, listen, I'm going to rob you, and then rob you, or just go and do it? She was like, well, they'll go and do it. Okay, so who's actually supposed to, who's in the right here? Is it the one that robs you, or the one that was robbed because he didn't have the ability to recognize the robber? Right? You have to develop that, to recognize the people that you want to hang about. You have to recognize the people that may have a bad intention. But that's entirely up to you to develop that. As a parent, it's up to me to actually have the discussions with my daughter to bring that awareness, and it's up to my daughter to choose what she wants in this reality, in this journey. But at the same time, just to blame the others for doing what they're doing, well, they do what they think it's right to do from their point of view. Right? They're going to do whatever they think is right. And for them, that's right.
You see?
Who am I to say that that's not right for them? But I have to discover what the value of life and of this journey is for me, and decide. And I have to also be able to translate that to my kids, not to indoctrinate them, translate it to my kids, and for my kids to be able, my children, to be able to develop their own personal philosophical belief system and make a decision what kind of a journey they want to have. Because it's not for me. You know, this is where we fall trap for it. We generation pass it on to the other generation, and because my parents were Christian Orthodox, I was straight away a Christian Orthodox. Where's my choice? Why wasn't I given that choice?
You did have choice.
Listen, yeah, that's the point. But as I grow up, I decided that hold on, the choice is now. I may not have it then when I was a child, when I was a child, but now I have a choice. I matured, and I'm like, okay, I have a choice. I rather, be in a position where I can choose. How do I look at the world? How do I perceive the world? How do I interact with the world? I'm not here to tell anyone what to believe, but at the same time, I'm not going to accept anyone that, for anyone else to plant their beliefs in me and push me to sign up for their club. You want to be in that club? Be my guest. It's how consciousness develops, right? How consciousness is actually playing with itself. Let's put it that way. Like Carl said, this game of consciousness. It's wonderful to start to observe it, because while at the same time people believe in different things, if you go to the goal, why do you believe in that? Where do you want to go? They all have a same goal. It's just with a different kind of belief system. But someone else, it's clever enough, you may say that it's dumb or unconscious, but it's clever enough to manipulate that, because they can see, they can't, understand that even though they believe in different things, they're still human beings, and they don't have to fight each other. They can actually work with each other, collaborate with each other, not kill each other. And someone else is smart enough to use them. And there's a lot of people that fall for it. There's a lot of people that don't.
As you're saying that, I listened to everything you just said, and I thought, what's really working out, what's turning up, more to the point, is all of that is different for every single human who depends on, and it just depends on the aspect from which they come from. Some of it doesn't apply, some of it does. Is that not consciousness finding a way? Right? Is that not, aren't you demonstrating consciousness finding a way where one was not before, by popping up in somebody else or popping up in some other people, until finally it gets it? Because we reference it from our personal point of view. You mentioned that, people's beliefs, right? Again, all personal points of view, and those beliefs, how are they in reference to actualities? Beliefs are one thing, actualities are something completely different. Beliefs and actualities happen at the same time. Beliefs can be completely disconnected from actualities all at the same time, because they are beliefs. They're not known. They're not part of the knowledge bank. They're not in the wisdom part of the head. They're beliefs. They haven't quite made it there yet. They need proof. Those beliefs need proof for them to be confirmed. And because consciousness is constantly seeking, so we can see how we can spin around in tails, and we can see how we can go from here to there and still not quite come up with the game plan as a consciousness. Because
as a single or a collective?
Well, it's always going to be as a collective. It just depends on where it pops up.
What I mean by the single is, you see, a lot of it comes down to perception as the individual on what they've been exposed to in relation to matters of this world.
Right. It's
that ancient saying, I have acquired enough information to realize I know very little of this world. And there's an acceptance and a maturity found in that. There's a peace to be found in that you are a vessel constantly in flux, that you are in a position of waiting. Any kind of viewpoints that are expressed are nothing more than comprehensions of information that's been available thus far.
There's also humility in that.
If you wish. But there's... So when we're beginning to explore matters of faith, development, where people are, we have to tread careful in this instance, because we start to play that, as Alan Watts once said, the one-upmanship game. You know, this way is better than that way, and so on and so forth. Right? Where
it's already present.
The true majesty of it all, and I can understand that people find comfort in their particular faiths, and I understand that. I understand that. You know, I had a grandmother. I used to do the Sunday school with the juice and the wafer biscuits and whatnot. Yep. Right? You know, watch the odd baptism and stuff. Sing some hymns. But where I grew up, I knew Sikhs, I knew Hindus, right. I knew Turks, Muslims, Buddhists. You know, the complete kind of the plethora of culture, even the diversity from the continent of Africa in and onto itself. Mm-hmm. You know, there weren't one set from there. You know, there weren't particular one doctrine from the Caribbean. There weren't one particular doctrine from the Asian Pacific countries, etc. You know, it's a complete melting pot of madness, and I mean that in the most humblest and honest way. Because the moment you begin to explore the chronicles of Earth's past, you begin to understand that a lot of these faith-based religions stem from a much older story. And this older story sheds a very different picture on life here on Earth and how it all came about.
So I have a question in that instance. So why then should there be a need to curtail these things? Why is it, for example, that we are seeing the early signs, or the signs of individuals working together to create one religion, as opposed to allowing the melting pot, the diversity that stems from every corner and circle on the planet?
Just so I can understand what you're going on, right? Is this that you mentioned a group of individuals trying to bring about a one world religion, right? The only place I've heard that is from the World Economic Forum and I dare say the Church of Herr Klaus Schwab. Right? If we look at practically every other major religion group, from Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, for instance, right? They would like their faith to dominate the world, and within their particular belief structure is that their faith will inherit the world. Right? So the idea of some group of individuals trying to bring it forward to bring about a one world religion is nothing new. So, you know, in that instance. Now, the one thing I'd like to know about is what the subtext is and what the meat of this new religion is. I would love to have a peruse of that stuff, just to see where they're coming from and what the purpose was. Well, and if I recall, there was somewhere in your question about why is is it suppressed, or why do they run a particular narrative to confuse? That's as a complex question as the meaning of life in and unto itself, because what you're asking is, why do people do what they do? Who's to know why people do what they do? Don't get me wrong, there are some scholarly individuals that understand human behavior, and if a human being has gone through a certain amount of events of a traumatic nature, that it can bring about certain behavioral patterns that can be recognized. However, the question still is, why do they do what they do, and what is this all about? But the thing is, it comes down to the manipulation of mind, doesn't it? You know, if you can encapsulate a mind and capture it into a particular framework, right, then it's not going to ask questions outside of that faith-based ideology. It's just not going to, because it will throw into contrast and into question that, as Marius put, the internalized belief structure, you know, a theoretical belief structure. In this case, it would be their particular ideology or iconography of what brings them whatever.
So you see, well, okay. So we mentioned the one. People want to bring up the one, and really, I didn't really look at that. I wasn't really mentioning that as like a focus of, well, these people want to get rid of it all, just do one. It was more to the point of where I was saying, and you have a group that want to do this, but my real point is this: the common denominator amongst all of it is that they're all taking the position that their stuff's the way.
Yeah.
Their way is the way. So my thing is this: if you've got, for example, these 5 religions here, the Baptist religion, the Pentecostal religion, the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witnesses, and the Seventh-day Adventists, you ask any one of them and they'll tell you that they're a Christian. But that's their thing that they do. That's how they worship. This is where they're going. So then my thing is, the elephant in the room is this: clearly you all must be praying to the same God, yeah? Clearly you must be. You must be, right? But maybe you're coming from a slightly different, from a slightly different angle when you're doing it. Because when I'm looking, right, you see, because when you have a graphical depiction in front of you as you have a conversation, and you clearly see the 5 gentlemen, the 5 European-looking gentlemen that created these 5 religions, just for example, right? And then you've got people from all walks of life that are into those religions. I didn't even know that. I didn't know these people created those religions. Do you know what? Do you want to know what I thought? What I thought was Seventh-day Adventism. I thought the fact that there were so many Jamaicans, Nigerians, Ghanaians in the community, in the audience. I'll call it an audience because it really is. You know, I thought it must be somebody from maybe Jamaica, but for
congregation.
The congregation, right? So maybe you know, audience, people congregate to watch something. Anyway, so sorry, but what I was saying. Oh yeah, he's going to give me a hard time for being that. What I was saying is that you see the main elephant in the room, right? Yeah, is that if you're all Christians, and you're all reading out, possibly out the same Bible, quite possibly, hopefully, you know, there's a good chance, same Bible. Okay, so you're the same Bible, same book. Hang on, same book, same, and most of you, apart from the Seventh-day Adventists, are going on a Sunday. So let's say you cover the weekend. So you guys cover the weekend, right? So you've got the same book, same weekend, same God, same identification as Christianity, as a Christian, but yet, some apparent reason, Seventh-day Adventists go, no. When you worship on a Saturday, you worship on a Friday evening to a Saturday evening. That's when it is. And they will, and when you sit in a talk, they will tell you, no, that's when it is. Because
it was said that Monday was the beginning, Sunday was the beginning of the week.
Right. So just
you remember when we had a discussion and I brought to you about someone mentioning about the if you like an analogy, if you take the truth as a you remember I said the pizza, but I was like, oh, pizza has been now.
Oh, it's nice teeth.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You take it as a whole bread,
right?
And you slice it in 12 slices, for example.
Yes.
But that's the truth. The truth is the whole bread, where you slice it in 12 slices, right?
Right.
And then you give a slice to each person.
Exactly.
People, right? Now each one of them has a version or piece of the truth, no version, but a piece of the truth. But that's not the whole truth. So what happens, they go out in the world with a piece of the truth, saying that is the truth. But the whole truth is actually in the whole 12 slices.
See, now Marius took it there before I could really bring it round, and because he's on it, right? And that was the point to be made, ladies and gentlemen. You see, the Baptist religion if you're a Baptist, if you identify as a Pentecostal or as Mormon, or even as a Jehovah's Witness or Seventh-day Adventist, you've all got a bit of the slice. You've all got a piece of it. You need to confer, really, because you don't have the same pieces as each other. You have some of it, but you all got, as my brother clearly, nicely, well pointed out, you have a piece. You all have a different piece. They come from the same part, same color, same gold trim on it, right? Same etchings, it's the same handwriting, but you've all got a piece. So instead of standing in your positions and then as an onlooker observes what would appear to be passive friction, maybe this, hopefully that's a good terminology, passive friction, right? One looks and says, but wait, are they not all houses of God? Are they not all worshipping the same God? Are they not all Christians? So please tell me, why should I observe friction on their borders? Are they not children of God? Do they not identify and recognize everybody? In fact, each one will step outside of the church and will stand on a corner and say, I view you as a child of God. Right up until the person says, yeah, but I'm a Mormon.
Now, Henny, if I take it further, now each person that has the slice of bread, every time he meets someone, they give a piece of their slice. Now, how divided that whole truth is when you think about it. Now, you know, you remember when I mentioned the fact that there may be a person that when he takes the slice, it's nice and warm and smells nice and he eats it straight away and it's like tastes brilliant, right? It's the best slice of bread they ever ate, right? But others are thinking, oh, I want to share it with my family, so I'm gonna put in my pocket, whatever, and walk with it. And some have to go a longer distance, some a shorter distance. Like the one that goes a shorter distance, the bread may be cooled off, right? It's not nice and warm anymore. But the other one that works a bit longer, that slice starts to dry up and it's a bit more crunchy. But then the one that works a lot longer, it might get some mold and all that, so that they can't eat it. So it's all different versions of that piece of the truth that keeps being spread around in different interpretations and perceptions. Go on, Carl.
Yeah, I was going to bring to the table. You see, this because you mentioned how messed up it is and everything else, right?
One second, mate.
Sorry.
1 second, mate. I'm sorry. Doc, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I've got to interrupt. All right. Hold your thought right there, brother Daps. Brother Carl, hold your thought right there. It's time to do a little bit of a commercial. Would any of you two like to do one, or shall I just do a quick one with the thing?
Go on.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you do know that everything's about frequency, right? Vibration. You always hear people say, good vibes, good vibrations. I'm giving you good vibrations. Well, how's yours? Exactly. Well, how's your vibration? Or how's your frequency doing? Are you on a low frequency, on a low vibration? Do you feel down in the doldrums? Do you not feel yourself? Well, I have the answer, ladies and gentlemen. I have the answer in the form of this beautiful quantum resonant concept. Grounded coherence for personal use all the time, all day. My dear friend Vanessa Elston, that's ELSTON, right? You can visit her at www.vanessaelston.com and have a word with her about your vibration and how you can get hold of this card, this Lifespring Resonance card, this quantum resonance card. Keep it with you. Put it in your purse. Protect all your credit cards and yourself. Put it in your office. Lay it right there next to your phone and your iPad and your computer. And keep that consonance, that harmony. Keep yourself harmonious and protected. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and contact Vanessa. www.vanessaelston.com.
Yanni, we're gonna have to check that out. VanessaElston.com. We're gonna have to reach out to old Vanessa there, less of the old, I'm sure. But Vanessa, and see if we can come up with some coupon code. You know, if you mention that you heard about the quantum cards through the House of Lords, you'll get maybe 5% off or something like that. Who knows? We'll certainly explore that narrative. And while we're on adverts, we'll just do a quick one. If you are struggling with your own complexities and your day-to-day thinking, and you want to put yourself to the challenge to develop and stimulate the old grey matter in your mind, to give you a taste of what Marius and I do, which is NMA, Neuroplastic Mental Acceleration Trainers. Honestly, you should check it out. Go visit in fact, go visit the Mind Gym app available on Google Play, and it'll cost you the price of a Happy Meal once a month. You'll gain access to a bountiful amount of information, tricks and techniques to develop you to go from 40 bits of information per second from left brain process driven learning to your limitless potential, being able to process 40 million bits of information per second, increasing one's thought to verbalization skills in any environment. So if you fancy yourself some of that, go check out the Mind Gym app.
Mind Gym Club, just to correct it. Mind Gym Club
app.
Yep. That was wonderful. Oh, yeah. Go and check it out.
Clearly it fucking wasn't, was it?
Well, but maybe because as I was listening to that and that last bit, it's like great. And then you guys did your little club app. Ladies and gentlemen, what they meant to say was you can also visit www.mindgym.club.
Ah, yes.
There you go. That's all.
Thank you, Yanni.
You're welcome.
And to find out about the bigger project, which is the Council for Human Development. That's where you're going to find even the app and everything that we stand for. You know, there is more to what we do, not just training about the neuroplastic mental acceleration, but also to help as many as we can. Well, as many as want to be in that position to be helped in actually thriving into the future and not be afraid of the AI. The AI has nothing to do with killing us like some may portray or be in that fear of. Now, is to be in the position where by increasing our neuroplasticity of the mind to increase the frequency that we operate on and be able to have highly creative problem-solving mind where we collaborate with the AI and not fear.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's our nice little segue, ladies and gents. And if you're interested and you feel sort of like some of the things that you've heard, I know it's going to be few and far between. I did put a rule out there, just taking my observations of life in and unto itself. Some of this information is not for the faint-hearted because it makes you question your internalized theoretical belief structures, and it throws into question one's own very, 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 very sensitive, projected perspective version of reality. You see, it's a peculiar thing. But that being said, right, I wanted to bring in before that brief commercial break there, the realization that there are some in this world that believe the 50-minute conversation that we just had about spiritual matters and particular faith-based ideologies, etc., right, is all bullshit because they're atheists, which is gaining popularity for all intents and purposes. There are vast ways of people that think this is all there is. It's it, you live, you're dead. And we can't discredit them until you have first-hand proof.
Right.
or for at least first-hand experience that has convinced you to the point of a knowing, but then that knowing through personal experience is only yours. Just because you experienced it, knew it, and went through it, and then you tried to share it, you'll still get people that go, it's fucking all shit. Ergo, the nature of this reality that we're living in. See, the conversations that we were having earlier on, where people are, it's just this, it's just the light, or it's the dark, and it's just this or that, right? Lets me know that they're unaware of what they call universal laws. This kind of cosmological dance between light and dark, vibratory expressions in perfect balance, constantly. A lot of people refer to it as a war. We have to win over the darkness. If it was to vanquish darkness, how do we have anything to weigh our deeds against? The scales of this dance that's forever taking place are for this place where we are. If we're talking about the soul's development going through experiences to comprehend greater matters, then we're all here. We're all in the same class. We're all going through this, and we all have purpose. Some people don't know what their purpose is, and I go back to this story, right? And it's of an individual sat on a bus stop. It's dark. It's raining. It's miserable. They've always got a bus. Never had a car. Lived in a council flat all their life, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but have no aspirations. I'm just trying to give you an indication of the character. So this character sat at the bus stop, right? Now they've been working most of their life, right? They're now in their late 60s, right? And their life's miserable. They carry the weight of the world over their shoulder, even though they're not carrying anything or no real responsibility, but they've got that bent back, just old in body and mind. And their life, by their own admission, is miserable. Can't wait. It's always crap. You sit down, you talk to them, it's miserable, right? Now this young, fabulous individual is just, getting ready to face the world, right? And they've got big plans for their life. They've got some ideas at this very young age. And they come sit at the bus stop because they've got to get a bus too, right? And they get into having a conversation. And the grumpy old person just thinks it's some young whippersnapper that doesn't understand the value of the gift that they've got, which is youth. So they say, right? So they're just being their old cantankerous, miserable self, unaware that what they're saying is having a tremendous effect on this individual that sat there. The cogs are turned. Their interaction is over. They get on their bus. They go about their separate ways. A few years later, the grumpy old person dies. No one gives a shit about 6 people turned up at the funeral. It was tragic, so miserable. But life went on. Now that other fella, they went to uni and they came up with a theorem and a process that would eradicate all the woes and all the drama and all the stresses that they heard expressed of this individual, to the point that the inventions that this individual makes change the world as we know it. And everybody will hold this individual aloft. What a great person. Look at the change they made. When the real star of the story was a soul's entire purpose and perseverance to withstand a miserable life, to be unaware of the magnitude and the importance of a mundane conversation at a bus stop in the middle of the evening. None of us know what our purpose is in this instance. We don't know the magnitude or the effects that our words and our expressions and our deeds are having. Some people, it's cliche, but it's that saying, isn't it? You can't eat the fruit the moment you plant the seed. Some of the actions and deeds and changes that we are doing in this life, even the 3 of us here, could be for something long after our death.
Oh, yeah.
Some random little geek somewhere in a basement finds an old piece of tech and is able to tap in to some old recordings of the House of Lords and listens to it, and then just like the individual on the bus stop hears these three cantankerous souls bitching about the world and comes up with a theorem that changes the future beyond all our comprehensions.
Right. Viable. Completely.
So the moment you're present with the beauty and the gift it is, and everything that's going on is exactly how it's meant to be right now for some greater unseeable knowing, then it adds wonder and magic to each and every fucking moment that we're in.
Of course.
You know, you're, oh no, my face this, my face that, I believe this guy, I believe that guy. I don't care. You're all part of the tapestry. You're all going on inside the big projector of my mind.
Yeah.
And it's all taking place. And I can add value or decrease value to my interpretations of your existence. But in and that and onto itself has no onus on how you relate to who you are. But people take it far too importantly. Oh, I've got to be accepted by this point. Iani did it at the beginning of the show where he was going to go down a particular narrative, but like we mentioned in the previous show, he censored himself from fear of triggering or you know, trying into compromise that he's working on in his private life. So we can get caught up on the semantics of it all. This is important. That's important. This person's got to do that person. Is it really?
Oh, well, you see, I was presented listening to you, Carl. I was presented with this, right? You know, we hear this, the three of us, we hear about this divide, right? And I was presented, as I was listening, there was a download there. It was like, well, is it the people that are being perceived as dividing the other people? Are they really doing it in a purpose of diminishing those people? I mean, of destroying the human beings, or is he to bring the awareness of the fact how they themselves accept to divide each other instead of uniting with each other?
Here's the thing, right? I've missed this opportunity 3 times now, right? And I'm not going to miss it again, right? A strong mind cannot be manipulated. Right? A strong mind can stand there in the face of madness and still be himself. Ergo the saying, if you can keep yours while all about you are losing theirs, then you're a man, my son. It comes down to how we are. You know, there's that saying, I can't remember who said it, right? But I heard his voice as soon as I said who we are. And it's that notion that we don't see things how they are. We see things how we are.
Right.
And the moment we can step out of that illusionary kind of interpretation of what that I, small case, thinks it's seeing, the moment you develop the observation of the experience, then you can begin to attain and extrapolate the wisdom or the information there in each and every moment. In turn, developing what they call mental alchemy, because now you can actually influence what it is on an energetic level, because you are the architect now, you're the conductor. You're stood there in front of your emotional symphony, and you're picking the bass drum as opposed to the barbarous bass drummer just going boom, boom, boom. You know, you're now conducting it. This moment requires a bit of volume. Wah! This moment requires a bit of calm and a bit of serene. Hey, this information, let's put a bit of both in there. Wake the fuck up! You know, because we love you. This is the gift that we have. The moment we empower ourselves with it.
Right.
You know, you are the witch, you are the warlock, for you can speak. Our words are more potent and more powerful than we can ever imagine. And the moment we realize that, then the buffoonery of these politicians, these bureaucrats, is laughable, because the only power they have is that what we give them. And then you realize the power that has been given for those under the charade that they've been elected to prevent the very things that have happened should really give you a little slap on the head, you know, and open your eyes a little bit.
Should do.
But if it doesn't, cool, high five. You know, you
Yeah,
want to go watch
all
Justin Bieber next week. I'm so happy for you.
Hmm.
Because consciousness might want to go see Justin Bieber.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
Consciousness might want to see how fucking freaky it can look masquerading as Madonna. This is the thing of it, you know. The devil's in the detail.
Yeah, really.
Did you say the devil is in the detail? Is that what you said? You know, when you mention it's about the world, the world is a good mirror of where the human kind is at the moment, right?
It's a mirror. It's also a crystal ball. It's both.
I'll tell you what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time on a House of Lords for the one and only sensational, right honourable Marius with What Comes Up.
It did it again, didn't it?
Yeah. Just threw you in before you were ready.
What comes up?
No.
Well, this comes up, you know. We had a discussion about ideologies, religions, right? And I for some reason, it comes up the fact that to bring to the awareness that based on where we are born, location-wise, geographically, and the family that we are born in, we are presented to a particular religion, ideology, or not, right? Because you also have the other ones that don't believe in anything, right? So based on that, that's what we are presented with. Now, it's not a definite that just because we are introduced to something, that doesn't mean we have to hold on to it for the rest of our lives. And what do I mean by that? Because some people, what do you mean? With my parents, I mean, they were Christians and I'm Christian because my parents were Christian. Okay, fair point. But there is a point in your life when you realize that it's more to life than just one particular club. When you come to the human race, so they call it. It's not about just being in that club, because when you being in that one club, especially when we talk about religion, then you're going to have to take a position, like at the beginning when Yanni was mentioning about the position. We're taking a position here. You have to take a position. What does he mean by taking a position? Where you're going to have to defend it. You're going to have to fight with the other clubs, because that's what you've been thought, that this club is the best club in the world. And you're part of that club. And the only way you're going to be accepted by the club is by defending it. And what does it mean to defend it? Where you're going to have to fight with the other human beings from the other clubs. You're going to have to hurt the others, even though that particular religion says to love thy enemy. I mean, what does it mean by that? You mean to love the other human beings? Yes, that's what it means. You know, the wonderful Carl brought to the equation about the consciousness aspect, the part that we are all part of that consciousness, all part of that spirituality, divinity, you name it. Been made by the same creator, whatever you want to call it. You call it God or Buddha or you, whatever you think it is, based on whatever you've been given. But there is a point in life where you come to that point of maturity where you start to question it. Not to question it because, you know, there is something bad about it. No. I'm not saying Christianity is bad, not at all. There is a lot of good things in it. At the same time, there is a lot of restrictions. Now, if there is restrictions, that means there are limitations. Limitations to who? Limitations to us as human beings. What do you mean by limitation? Well, what I mean by limitation is that we cannot be who we really are and what we really are. We cannot actually tap into our full potential. The potential that we are born with. And in a way, we can say we've been robbed of it by being introduced to certain ideologies. But at a certain point in life, you may question it. And it's fine, question it. That means your intuition, your core, is saying, hello, let me out. Let's be who we are. Let's be what we are. And actually add to the progression of the human race, to the progression of the consciousness. From a human aspect, we know about good and bad. From a consciousness aspect, it's about progression and regression. Now, sometimes progression may mean pain. Sometimes progression may mean, some distraction in the world, in this reality. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It may be perceived as bad for the ones that they're not ready, they're not there to comprehend it from a point of understanding. What is the reason for it? Because all is down to our choices, to cause and effect. Based on our choices, it's what we attract. If we go to the law of attraction, it's based on our choices. The fact that I am what I am in my journey is because of my choices. No one else pushed me there. And that's the same for every single one of us. We can blame everyone else around us. It's not going to solve anything. It's only going to keep us at the same level and be unhappy and, angry with the world. Is that really progressive? Is that really helping in creating that better world that a lot of people are talking about? They want to live in a better world. Well, that better world is all down to every single one of us. As Carl mentioned, right? It's how we perceive it ourselves, and also the actions that we put in that will create the world. And if we actually going out in the world and be bitter and angry with the people around us, it's about being aware of it. I'm not saying you're not allowed to it. Yes, you're welcome to it. Go on, be bitter, be angry, because you may be that person that Carl mentioned about. That message may land on someone else's that will do something about it to help create a better world. And it's not about division. It's about unity. It's not about, competition. It's about collaboration. And consciousness will just explore itself through various minds, but it's down to us to ask the deep questions that gets us to the answers that will help us unite, whatever unity means for you. And that's what comes out.
And there you had it, you beautiful people. Fabulous dulcet voice of the one and only sensational Right Honourable Marius with What Comes Up.
Ignite your vitality. Meet the LifeSpring Gold Card, a quantum leap in wellness. Revitalize your bioenergy, boost stamina, ease aches and improve your mental focus. Shield yourself from electromagnetic frequencies emitted from cell phones, laptops and other smart technologies. Restructure tap water, revitalize food and harmonize everything around you. Elevate well-being with LifeSpring made in the USA. Order today from VanessaElston.com.
Interesting.
I'll have to listen back to that.
Yeah, that was really good, man. That was really good. I like that. I like that, mate. But here's what's interesting, right? As you were saying that, I was thinking about what we've spoken of so far, and when you were saying, the choices. I see certain parts of society. I see them I see them respond to what they believe society is saying to them. I watch and I see how they themselves are responding to society, how they themselves are in society. I don't just take the word of whatever comes off of the internet, because anybody could falsify that. We've landed there, ladies and gentlemen, now. But it's when I actually interact with humans in the controlled environment that we step into when we live in our cities. This is real. They are controlled environments, aren't they not? You cannot do 100 miles an hour wherever you feel like it. You can't just take a dump wherever you feel like it. You can't take a slash wherever you feel like it. You can't have sex wherever you feel like it. Thus, I mentioned controlled environment. Stay with me, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. So as we find ourselves in that, you say to yourself, I see the behavior. I see the interaction. I then go in and I interact personally to see what is there. And I feel a lot of resentment. I feel a lot of bitterness. But you know what I'm also seeing? Sadly, I see a lot of ignorance. Sadly, I see a lack. I see a lack of input. Right? I see fear. Right? But yet somehow this combination that I've just mentioned, this cocktail that I've just mentioned, seems to fuel this group of individuals. Now, not every single one in this particular instance, in this particular area that I'm mentioning, is like that. No. When you go to the mature, the more lived, international, worldly, or even just mature, elderly, you don't see that. It's not there. It's not there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not there. But in this other area, anything below that, and that stops at about 12. Sorry, okay, 16. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. You're not doing, and it's sad because I feel as if no favors are being done by not listening to the world. No one's going to judge you if we discover that you didn't do all of the class work up until this point. All we'll do is make space for you to go and catch up. No one's going to judge you because you missed a whole bunch of things and went down a particular narrative pathway through life and built a culture around it, only to find out that it was actually BS. I, for one, will never judge a person who can recognize that in themselves, in their community, and do something about it. Because it's fair enough. You can continue to travel that same pathway of anger, that same pathway, and be met with the same response. You can have that same approach, that same prejudicial approach to your fellow man and woman in your city, or you could reach past that. No one's going to judge you if you have to re-educate yourself about the situation and understand that your neighbor isn't the threat. Especially if you happen to reside in any of those places on the globe that professes to be international, multicultural, and melting pot in style. No, you can't. I mean, I'm not even talking about all. I'm specifically focused in at the moment, because if I'm going to go forward in reality, now I know my colleagues, friends, but if I'm going to go forward as a representation of consciousness, who strives for awareness, for in the nowness. I know that's not a word, but I don't care right now.
I like it.
One that strives. Thank you. One that strives for knowledge, wisdom. One that strives to hear from the elders, to comprehend how their wisdom was passed to them, so that I may be able to do the same and do my part going forward. Is it not a valuable period of time that can be spent now doing this? Is it not a valuable time right now where no one can judge anybody right now? No one can. No one could in the first place, but you can't now. Ridiculous. So don't take that one on board. And I know that I made that sound very simple, almost sound throwaway, but I didn't mean to do that. That's not really the intention at all. It was to show you more to the point, just how not important some of this stuff is. That one doesn't need to spend a whole vast amount of time to understand it. It's very simple to understand that your neighbor will be there for you if you're there for them. There will always be a situation that outstrips everything else. And when you're there for them or they're there for you, that's that. End of. Moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. It's so simple. How long did it take me to explain? How long did it take me just to say that last 2 sentences? Well, about 4 seconds, right? 4 seconds. Okay, I'll give you maybe a minute or so to get out your house and then go to the perimeter of your house or knock on your neighbor's door. It's that simple. Imagine we had millions of followers, right? And I turned around and I said, right, what I want you all to do is to get up off your sofa, put down the hot dogs and the biscuits, and the tea. Well, no, take your last sip. It's hot, I know, take it. Take your last sip of tea. Now put it down. You don't, you with the rich tea biscuit. See, that's the reason why it fell in, right? You were dunking. You didn't pay attention to what I said. I said, drink, and then you looked over it. Your rich tea's thin. It fell in. Had you had a rich tea, had you had a McVitie's digestive or like a chocolate odd knob, you would have been all right, mate. So yeah, you would have.
That person might have had the device in their hands at the same time. So
there you go. That vice that grips them in their hand. Yeah, that vice that's gripping them in their hand. Yeah. You might well have been gripped to your vice. That vice is gripping you. But put it all down if you can. And all right, take your vice with you. I know you can't help yourselves. Don't worry. We do things softly. Yeah. Just put everything else down. Take your vice with you. Okay, because it's clamped to you. You don't know how to get it off you. I know. Go out your house. Right. If you live in a normal road like garden and stuff, go out your house. Just go next door, turn left, go next door, knock on your neighbour, right? Say hello, hope you're all right. If there's anything you need, man, I'm here for you. That's all you got to do. That's it. Again, go out your house. Hello, listen, I just want to say something. I'm here for you. If there's anything you need, let me know. Off you go. That's it, and be done. Nothing else. Now, what will probably happen, as long as there's not been some sort of long-running argument about whose perimeter is the widest and whose fence and what part of the fence is damaged and why and whose tree is falling. As long as there's none of that going on, at the very least, as you're walking away, because there's no need to hang about, you've delivered the message. Turn around with a smile and off you go. At the very least, you're going to get a thank you. And you too, maybe at the end, because they feel maybe slightly embarrassed or something, which is not on you. Or you might say, hang on, mate, do you fancy coming in for a cup of tea? Right there, you've scored. Make sure you bring around the proper biscuits, yeah? Be prepared. Don't come with nothing. Because you never know what happens in that moment, yeah? I'm trying to teach you how to... I'm showing you examples. This is showing you examples of how simple, how easy, really, really easy. No books needed. No TV needed. No radio needed. How easy it is to change the vibration on your road, in your community, just by you offering something genuine and simple as that. I mean, is it not?
It is as easy as that, but I was fighting my damnedest, right, not to be that one neighbour that goes, "Fuck off, you weirdo."
But you're gonna get. That's why I said, at the very least. I mean, I'll had I gone further, you're gonna be never conversations, or you're gonna be like, "Fuck off, I don't like you," or get off my land.
Get lost, you fuck. Get lost. Who are you?
And if it's a farm that you live next to, yeah, a bit of buckshot in your ass might, but
You know, when you mentioned nobody can judge you, I was presented with the fact that when I came to realization that you never please everyone. You can try, but there's always going to be some people that will judge me, some people that will agree with me, some people that won't give a monkey about what I say, right?
There's always going to be one.
Well, but the thing is, they have their right. They have their right based on how they're going to perceive what I say, where they are in their journey. You know, they have their right.
See, you bring it into a beautiful place now, right? Which is really divisive, and I love this subject, right? Because it's, do you know that notion that I would defend to the death somebody's right to fucking hate me, right? Because for all intents and purposes, something may happen where I don't have the emotional maturity and I'll fucking hate your guts, right? It's just the way life is, right? And the thing that beats me about this whole kind of laws governing fucking emotions, right? I think it's obscene, right? And I mean that in every veracity of the word, right? It's obscene to make a human emotion a crime.
What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? Right, let's take some random woman, right? Some random woman, and she's walking along with her baby, right? For those sensitive ears, right? Maybe go make a brew, right? She's walking along with her baby, and then all of a sudden, jackass fucking rapist jumps out, right? And he goes to town, right? We won't go into detail, right? But he pulls out a knife there and goes to town on her afterwards as well, so she's dead. Sees the baby, right? And has a good time with the baby, and then goes to town with a knife on the baby as well, right? Now, so what you're saying is that the parents of this victim of this heinous crime, right, can't turn around and say, "Fuck you, I hate him, I want to pour fucking boiling vegetable oil on him in a pan. Right, I want to torture him with batteries. I'm not going to do it, but I have the fucking right to feel that way." That's what I mean. How can you govern? Because hate, anger, misery, laughter, joy, pain, contemplation, indecisiveness, anxiety. These are all kind of chemical responses to a mental process.
But
you process the situation in a peculiar way, and then the body releases chemicals, endorphins, and fucking all the other kind of chemical soup that goes along with that, right, to bolster that viewpoint. Right, so it's the operations of a brain in process that you're making illegal.
Well,
I'll give you an example, right? There was times in my life, Iani, where I hated. Now, hate is an ugly word. I don't hate now. I don't hate anybody, even the most vile. I don't hate. Right? There's no point. Right? You either accept, do something about it, or fucking get on with your life.
But
right? That's the position you got.
It left its mark, though.
Right, but this is my point, right? It comes down to the individual's development. The moment you begin to develop your introspection, because I had to go through all those dark, weird crap, right? You do loads of stupid things, you hurt people, you've been hurt, so on and so forth. And then with the introspection, the self-analysis and assessment of the why behind I'm thinking. Why am I the why behind my doings, the why behind my words? Then you begin to unpack and free yourself from all that carnage, right? You begin to extrapolate beautiful pearls of wisdom into your experiential wisdom bank. And without that carnage, without all that misplaced emotion, hate, anger, fear, all of these things, they were the catalyst to get me to this point. Now, I'm not saying this point is any better than where I was just then. But from people's interactions with me and their interpretations of my expressions, it seems that I have developed in some way. But would I be here at this stage of development without all of the misplaced hate, anger, and everything else?
You bring this right now with what you just said, and also it will connect with what Ian said earlier. It's the fact that there's nothing to do with being something wrong, But we have been, most of us alive, not all of us alive, been born in a society that has been somewhat programmed in a certain way. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying all over the world, because I haven't been all over the world. But from what I know, right, we've been brought up in a society where the society will punish the mistake, the wrongdoer, instead of, if someone done something, go and ask the person, why did you do it? Understand where that person is in their journey and help them. But instead, we punish the people. That was wrong. You need to be punished. And where did he get us? Well, he get us to the point where we are today, and that's a reason for it. To become aware of the fact that there's no such thing as a mistake.
But my learned colleague, I cannot allow for something to pass as you said it, and I said, no, I see, even right there, we need to explore that. You said just now, you just said, there's a part where I wanted to say, but we are ignoring that particular dynamic. What did you just say? I'm sorry. What did you say to the man? This is good. What did you just say? A second ago, because I actually had it in my head. I wanted to.
There is no such thing as a mistake, but a learning curve. That was my last statement.
And then the one before that.
Well, the fact that the society punished.
There you go.
Wrong.
You see that punishment. We can't even see. Just hanging out with you two. God, see, look at the influence. See how. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see how dodgy the influence of these two people are on me? You all knew me as some house music DJ.
Can't really say dodgy.
Dodgy, mate. Yeah, super dodgy, mate. Proper dodgy, mate. You know me as a house music DJ, happy, all of that stuff. Didn't really say much on camera. Didn't need to. Just smiled, but just bashed off some wicked music. Looked good. You know what I mean? Good environment. Yeah. Now look at me. Fucking, this is like a a cross between Desert Island Discs and the University Challenge, mate. I mean, here we are. But the thing is, no, just kidding, mate. I'm not really kidding. But it is the thing is though, is this, that we can't get past the part that created the need to punish. Now, let's just say, for example, I am the proverbial judge, right, that has to hear the case that Carl presented of the person going to town on the mum and the baby. Now, and I'm that judge who's lived a sort of a normal, basic, balanced life, went to fucking prep school with the boys, did all right, went to law, became a judge, yeah? So I've gone that route, I've got a few kids in college now, whatever. So that's my life, yeah? I wasn't a military man, right? Maybe I did a little bit of what's that other thing that they did in the beginning, reserves thing, and then that's it. But not a military person, but respects the military, grateful for them, yeah, I'm that person, right? And then I see this person come along. Now, as a judge, I've got to follow a certain protocol, have I not? Okay. But isn't there a personal side that comes with it. And don't I have the final say so? I do, right? As the judge, I have the final say so about this individual, yeah, because I get to pass down the sentence. Now I've got to go through my jury, you know, I've got to go through the solicitors and all that stuff, the lawyers, but yeah, I've got the final say so. Now, if I have not done, for example, if I've not gone to the mind gym, right, and I've not been trained by this one dude named Carl, and then there's this other geezer, I think his name's Marius or something like that. Marius, that's it. Yeah, if I've not done that, right? If I've not done that, then there is no chance that I can sit there balanced. I'm sorry. If I haven't done any work, genuinely speaking, to be fully impartial, i.e., to understand when somebody said that was a good action, to understand it. And then the person on the other side says, no, that was a bad action, same action, and understand the same thing. At that particular point, you're standing in a position of neutrality. As long as you're not swayed. Is the judge going to be swayed by the photographs? Is the judge going to be swayed by his imagination? Is the judge going to be swayed by his own fear? Because forget about the rest of the panel, the 12 of your people that have sent in their verdict, that have come up with a verdict. The judge has seen all of that. Is that person swayed? Does it strike fear into them that quite potentially, if they don't do something, that could potentially happen to one of their grandkids, or one of their children, or one of his children? Is that it? Is that the reason why the need to then punish, as opposed to, as you said, hey, come here, what happened? Because we all know the person's dead. Those people are dead. They're not coming back, and the condolences and the heartfelt sorrow for whoever that happens is there. We understand that. So there's nothing. We're not negating that at all. But when we come to the individual that's responsible for it, we have been taught that somebody should be punished because what they did is bad. We have been taught that. That is our paradigm. If you have lived in a particular part of the world, various areas of the world, and I say that because what I'm saying is true. If you've lived in a particular part of various areas of the world,
no, you're right on the money with that point. You know, because even America, you know, there's some states where things aren't a crime, and then in other states that thing that's not a crime is a crime.
Yep.
And vice versa. You know, a societal norm in another country, right, could be a heinous crime in another.
Right.
That these kinds of societal norms and perceptions of right and wrong differ vastly as you go around the world.
Exactly.
I mean, Marius made that. I don't know who made it. You know, as a society, we punish. What society, and in what case? You know, because it isn't consistent across the board. You know, depending on one's class, depending on, in some cases, race, depending on some social standing, right? The consequence of the crime could be vastly different. So it becomes almost down to, you know, I knew that judge that was prosecuting the killer that did the wife and the child. There are cases like that, you know, and it's looked upon, this person gets a harsh sentence. Now you see another judge that's part of a rather nefarious little ring, and people that are getting arrested and charged with the most heinous of crimes are being let out. And then in other cases, you know, something that is almost laughable in comparison to the heinous crime that was just mentioned, is locked up for most of their life. I mean, it differs vastly around the world, from like I said, social, academic, race, financial, or so there isn't this equal idea of justice. I think that's an illusion. I've experienced it myself. You know, the more you empower yourself and the way you conduct yourself, the establishment and those that are enforcing the law act very different.
You know, Carl, just hold your thought right there. Just hold your thought right there, because now is about that time. And Ihani, do you want to do the honors?
That would be. I'd be more than happy to go ahead and do the honors. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him. We know him. You love him. We love him. What can I say? Larger than life, the man himself. It's time for Hit the Pinboard with Carl.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I love this new dynamic where we're almost playing Uno with people's tasks. Pick up 2. There you go. It's your turn. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. Brilliant. Right, what's on the pinboard? Detoxification of our food. This is one of the subjects that we've pinned on the pinboard. We mentioned it earlier on. We're seeing very strange kind of character traits emerge in various pockets of the world, and there's lots of conversations taking place now in rather lofty places, where the question is there something in the food? Is something going on? You know, and if you understand that the human body in and onto itself rebuilds itself within around 7 years, from the very marrow in your bone, right up to the tips of your nails, you know, rebuilds itself. But guess what it rebuilds itself out of? Well, it builds itself out of the stuff that you put in. Right, so if you're 2 sheets to the wind and you don't really care about the stuff that you put inside your body, you know, you go down to the supermarket or convenience where 95% of the food that's now on sale didn't exist 100 years ago, but hey, we'll pin that on the pinboard. Right. So now here we are. We're in this Franken market where we're seeing all beautiful logos and designs, billion-dollar industries just on packaging alone to get your attention. So this one brand stands out above everything else. And when you have a look at the ingredients on this thing, it just looks like delicious chicken. Yeah, breaded crumbs, southern fried. It's delicious, right? Best chicken, just like KFC. Whatever you want, right? Other brands are available. I wouldn't even touch the stuff with a bar pole, but we'll pin that on the pinboard called Kentucky Fried or KFC for a reason. Remember that banning? I'll tell you about that banning. This is how freakish the fruit gets, right? Some of you may know, some of you may not know. KFC used to be called Kentucky Fried Chicken till a court case nearly a decade ago, or maybe even longer now, right? Where it was found that it wasn't actually selling you the chicken. No, it was selling some Franken chicken. What we now see advertised, you know, growing artificial meat through various stems and other tissue bits and bobs. I'm no.
Yep.
Yeah, one of them. But yes, this lab-grown meat basically, and they were sued. And the result of this court case, they had to change their name to KFC because they were no longer selling you chicken. So we'll leave that there, okay? So you're eating this crazy modern Franken food, all of these chemicals everywhere. You're eating genetically modified fruit, so you're going down the fruit and veg aisle, right? And if you're somebody of age, right, if you ever had an allotment or you go out in nature, you'll understand that some apples are the ugly apples, really gnarly and knobbly, and all the rest of it, right? And you'll see that within the world of bananas, especially in the organic variety, there's little bananas, big bananas, there's kind of straight bananas, there's bent bananas, all kinds of bananas. Same with tomatoes, big ones, small ones, little ones, all kinds of variations. Now what do we see in these supermarkets? These beautiful round perfectly sculpted. The very idea of what an apple should be, etc. And there's a reason for that, because they need to sell you the food visually before you pick it up and buy it. Not to mention the fact that they cover and coat them in wax so they look fresh and shiny for a much longer period of time, so the oxygen doesn't get to them. But again, we'll leave that there. And you see these convenience, they did it just for us, didn't they? These seedless grapes, these seedless fruits, so we're no longer picking out that seed that was stuck in the back of our tooth for about a day and a half, even when we was trying to pick it out and floss and everything, it wouldn't come out. And then one day you'd be eating just another piece of fruit and it would come out all by itself. Quite bizarre. But you'll never have that experience now, because you're drinking Jaffa food. You're eating Jaffa food. Shoots blanks, it's got no seeds. Seedless, you will never grow another one of them. You'll never provide the beautiful mechanism that nature provides. When you eat something, you digest it, you're walking out through the jungle, you take a shit, and that seed, all of a sudden, it's got a beautiful little package of fertilizer, and it's right in the ground, and it grows. No, we can't have that, can we? So when you're thinking you're doing the animals a favor by chucking them all this fruit that you've got from the supermarket, realize that you're feeding them sterile food. It's nutrient deficient, believe it or not. But hey, don't ask me, do your own research. But apparently, if you do that nowadays, you're a far right bloody extremist. Just do your own research. If you only believe that there's two genders in the world, then you are a far right extremist. This is kind of the rhetoric that's coming out of the world's official news outlets nowadays. But I'm going slightly off point, going back to the franking food. Right, in some countries have actually made it a crime for you to grow organic food. Remember your own little garden and everything else like that. You'd save your food, and then you'd dry the seeds and you'd plant and you go around granddad's or whatever the case may be, and there was an apple tree there that was planted when they were young. Everybody enjoys the fruit, all that kind of stuff. Well, that's gone, isn't it? Because now you've got plastic grass. Now you've got artificial plants with lights in them because it makes the garden look nice. Right? You wonder why that the world's slowly falling into an abysmal mess, because you find your trinkets more valuable. Going back to the franking food, going back to this idea that you build yourself every 7 years out of the stuff that you're putting in it, right? So over time, your body's building itself out of MSGs, artificial colours, artificial sweeteners, poisons, toxins. Some are actually on the toxic chemical list that is in some of the foods that people like to digest. I mean, I'll give you an example. One of people's favorites is the old golden arch, McDonald's, right? But the fries in America and the farmers that harvest them have to keep them in cold storage, right? In these big vats, right? For 3 months, because they need to purge them of the chemicals that are sprayed and are very much in them. It's a ridiculous state of affairs that we find ourselves in, to the point some countries have actually banned genetically modified food. Why, I hear you ask? Because it's invasive. It destroys the natural crop, the organic crop. Why would it do that? Why would some company genetically modify a seed that was abrasive to its surrounding indigenous species? Because it gets rid of competition. And once you have the monopoly on what people can grow, and you have to buy seeds, just like Monsanto says to many countries around the world, that they caught up in this franking food trap, where they'll sell the grain to the farmer. The farmer will have to plant that grain. That grain won't grow unless they buy the feed and the pesticides and herbicides off the very company that sold them the seeds. And let's not forget that these seeds are Jaffa, so there's no amount of harvest retention for next year's crop will ever take place. They have to go back and start the cycle all over again. This is one of the reasons why we're seeing uproar all around the world by farmers, because they're trying to hijack our food. For those that control the food, control the masses. You're beginning to get the picture? Hey, but fill your face with some Starburst or some opal fruits. They make your mouth water. That's what's on the pinboard.
There you have it, ladies and gents. There you have it. So, Carl, you can go back to your point that you were with the justice.
What was my point? I went off on a tangent on what was on the pinboard there. I really did. But hey, it is what it is. What was I talking about prior?
Prior, we were talking about the justice. You're talking about your own experiences with the justice system
Oh, I didn't need to go into detail. I'm very aware.
No,
Of
I'm
the
not saying to go into
multifaceted.
details. It's just that if
just
you're
very
not finished
much
the point.
aware. I'm very much aware of the multifaceted way that these systems of control operate.
Right.
They are not what they seem. They are not as just as they portray. They are not as fair. They are not as upfront. The reality that we're led to believe is very different than the one that is.
With the point that I was making earlier about the way the society punishes and all that. I mean, if we think about the fact that if we get punished, what would be the reaction? What would we? We would try to cover it up, right? We would try to cover it up because if I've been found out, I'll be in trouble. And some of them are not even that bad, but they're bad in our perception in a way because we've been, told to fear the judgment. So, what happens when we cover it up? It's like a seed, right? That you try to cover it up and think that it's not going to come up, but years down the line, it's starting to break through.
I remind you of this saying, right? And it's, oh, what a wicked web we weave when at first we do deceive. Right? The moment you tell one lie, right, you'll spend a forever amount of time spinning yarn after yarn to keep the first yarn in check. That's why I use the phrase, I'd rather hear the world's most horrific truth than the world's sweetest lie. Because I know where I stand.
Well, so no wonder we live in a world where we are surrounded by lies, right? The thing is, do we want to continue living in that world? Or do we want to change that?
I don't live in that world. Everything that I express, everything.
I'm not saying you. I'm just speaking to the listeners.
Well,
I'm not saying you.
I'm going to give people sort of like a way to view that, right?
Yeah.
The moment you start seeing the world or boast, it's like this and all people are X, Y, Z, right? That's the reality that you're weaving for yourself. Being able to look at what it is that you're experiencing and seeing the multifaceted, layered reality that is actually taking place. Poor homeless, right, are in the same reality as billionaires, right? They're all just vibing on different. It's all in this space. Yeah, the perceptions are different of the world. I used to speak to a lot of people, especially from more deprived areas, that are trying to navigate this life. And there are a few cultures out there. In fact, it's a full spectrum, right? That believe that there's a boogeyman trying to oppress people, making it hard for them to get by. It's because I'm this shade, or it's because I'm working class, or it's because I've got a tattoo on my face, right? And generally these are the have-nots. Yeah. Oh, I never get anywhere because X, Y, Z, the boogeyman, the government, the this, the that, the taxes, there's this big list of why they haven't, right? But equally, I know people of the same demographic of these have-nots, right, that has, and have done incredibly well from themselves, right? And they're of a vast array of hues. And the only difference between the haves and the have-nots, right, is the haves don't give a fuck. They're going to do it. They're going to go for it. They're going to bet on themselves. They're going to go out and make it for themselves. They're not waiting for the opportunity. They are the opportunity. And the moment you begin to adopt that fucking viewpoint on your life, that you are the opportunity that you're waiting for, don't wait for somebody else. You fucking do it. You be the change that you want to see in your life. No one knows what it is that you want from life or you want to act in life than you. So this idea, the moment you move from the victim sort of like, the boogeyman and the government, and move to fuck them, I don't mean I'm endorsing go out there and break the law, but certainly adopt fuck it and fuck them and do you. The moment your perception of the world changes profusely, all of a sudden doors open left, right and centre. All of a sudden opportunities are presenting themselves that have been there the whole time. You were just too pig ignorant in your own self-indulgence of self-worth and wondering why the world hasn't recognised you and some other fucking boogeyman's got his foot on your neck. Right. Then you begin to realise that was just the fabric of your imagination, because the world is full of opportunities right this fucking moment if you care to grab them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Full of opportunities. I have embraced AI. Not that I haven't, you know, because I've just been making fun of a lot of the stuff. Really, I've been, you know, you notice it in your text messaging when you're like, oh, I see. So you're asking me to put that in instead. You're making my mind up for me. I see. Okay, so there's the AI. So everybody's like, oh, AI, because of ChatGPT. Listen, man, AI's been about running up and down your house and you didn't even know it. In your hand, you carry it around in your vice, the thing that's clamped to your hand. Thing that's clamped to your back pocket, you know, your vice. You know, it's in there. It's been in there forever
and ever.
Yes. It's just been there. Just imagine.
Do you know,
it was there from the beginning.
The day people realise that we're all demigods, the better the world will be.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Can we just get to that? Can we? You know what? I tell you what. He said demigods. Now we're talking. Guess what I'm going to do? Demigod style. Right, so, come on. Let's get real. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've moved into the next section here. This is the demigod section, right? For those of you who are not aware of who the fuck you are, you heard my colleague. You heard him. Think I'm joking? Then why did Sam Worthington play Ulysses? No, maybe I'm wrong. Not Ulysses, or something in Clash of the Titans. Why? Twice in a sequel too, and he's a demigod. Well, why would you do it? He had Liam Neeson in there as Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Why are you going to go through all of that to present that to us? And you're not saying anything at all. And it's just some fantasy, huh? Is there anything? Would anybody like to present something to us at this moment in time?
Is that a question? Are you asking me?
I'm not asking you. I'm just throwing it out there to the universe. Just letting the people know. What did you think you were watching? I'm just curious.
You know, when you mentioned technology, because it's I thought, anyway, being the demigod.
yourself.
Yeah, the fact that technology, you know, it's just happening now. I was presenting with certain videos from not even long ago. I think beginning of 1900s, where they had electric scooters things, something like. And I was looking at it with people riding them and all that, and I'm like, why do people think that this was just discovered recently?
Exactly.
That's an interesting thing, isn't it? All right, we're going slightly left now, obviously, clearly demigods and frigging Tartaria, right? Now, allegedly there was this problem with the remnants of an Atlantean empire called Tartaria. It covered most of Russia, Siberia, Asia, most of the Northern Hemisphere, really. And it was massive, and it was very technologically advanced. Resonance bells were everywhere to keep people in optimum health. We see this through the archaeological destruction of a lot of these bells. Some fabulous pictures in museums, just vast fields of bells getting ready to be destroyed for the war effort, allegedly. But anyway. Right, so there was this, even back then, like now, there was an opposing group. We could call this group modern day. I'm not going to give it a name, sorry. Some modern day opposing force, right? And they wanted to monopolize everything because of allegedly back in Tartaria, technology was free. You know, this stuff was about. People had really good lives. And it was destroyed, basically. It was destroyed. And we mentioned the demigods. We mentioned it in another episode, I'm sure we have, right? This idea of an extraterrestrial race coming down to Earth, seeding a worker race to do its bidding by splicing in its genes with Homo sapien, or not Homo sapien, what was it? Homo erectus, and created what you see in the mirror now. And we've been living under the kind of observation and control of these individuals ever since. But when Iani just mentioned the demigod aspect, well, if these are revered, they're not gods, right? Let's just have it right. They're not gods, right? The biblical people in your scriptures, they're not gods, right? They're a group of people from somewhere else that were far technologically advanced than us, needed somebody to do some work, and they committed a faux pas. And it's been in question and observation ever since, this thing that they created that is now called Homo sapien, right? Mankind, living flesh, man and woman on Earth, right? As a worker race. After several calamitous experiences and attempts to destroy the race, it still lived. And just like our own disillusions or some construct of some higher divine purpose, they realised that there must be some form of higher divine purpose, because no matter what we do, we can't get rid of them. They're here now, so we'll teach them. But to do that, we'll break it down into component parts. You have a club, I'll have a club, and we'll teach them some stuff. Call your characters Biggie, you call your Mickey, and you call yours Doran, John, and fucking Philip, right? And but fundamentally it's all the fucking same story, all right? Yeah, we call, right, but we can't let them know who we are. And secondly, we need to keep the gold coming. Off we go. Here we are, right, umpteen thousands years later, discussing the world being flat. Men got tits, men can have babies. And it's just bizarre. The world's bizarre. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful, but yeah. Bizarre, now we've just got everything in between. Everything in between, right? We got boogeyman, interdimensional beings. We got aliens. We got stellar travel. We've got breakaway civilizations. We've got people living on the far side of the moon. We've got bases on Mars. There's international space agreements. There's international treaties, just like fucking Star Trek. Right, you've got people that could reverse aging. Like, it's not frigging recommended, but it's doable, where basically you're an operative or a communicator for some extra people because they use your conscience.
And it's through our immersion in our own experience. I can't stress that enough, because you are the architect. You are the pilot of your journey. You're the actor, the thespian. Now, you could take the lead role and talk into said Yorick's head. Or you could be a little extra at the back that doesn't have many lines at all and doesn't like to be seen. A meek little butterfly. It is your choice. Completely your choice. Now, the insightful aspect of all of that is you now are aware, you have been made privy to, again, like you heard me say the other day, you are now illuminated into the insightfulness of your possibility, where you therefore are the architect, you are the director, you are the key star, or, if you wish, the quiet little extra of your own existence. That in itself is insightful. Fascinating.
Extra people because they use your conscience to communicate, just like you was at fucking UN, right? But you're the mouthpiece of people that can't verbalize shit like we do, right? And because you're incredibly useful, right, every 30 or 40 years, they'll basically regress your body. So you go back 20, 30 years, biologically speaking. You're still fucking 70 now in your head, but you got the body of a 45-year-old.
Right.
Right? I mean, you've got where'd the Mayas go? I don't know. Do you remember those cylindrical tubes, those UFOs that they call them the Tic Tacs, or looks like one big piece of rock? Apparently, that's the Mayas, right? They've got some wicked technology because, you know, the people that came down earlier on goes, oh, there's going to be another cataclysmic event, right? You lot want to come along. Yeah, we'll come. All right, excellent. We'll teach you some stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about Agartha. Oh, yeah. People turn around and say, well, the earth rings like a bell. Why does it ring like a bell? Because, hold on. Oh, that's interesting. Where have we heard that story before? Oh, lots of folklore, lots of myths and legends from loads of cultures all around the world, right? You know,
bloody movies.
I'll give you an example, right? What people don't know, you got the Philadelphia Project. Anybody know about the Philadelphia Project? Some of you out there, give me a high five on the Philadelphia Project. Where they tried to make matter disappear itself, right? Make a whole battleship disappear, right? And they did it through the magnetic field, messing about with basically loads of bizarre stuff. And they made the ship disappear. The ship disappeared into a big cloud of mist and weird. Where have we seen that? In films before? Oh, yeah, so we have. Right, and then, but when it came back, the crew that didn't remember where they were actually placed, why they went into phase or out of phase, when they came back in, they were amalgamated with the ship, right? They were part of the ship's hull, a bit like some weird alien thing. Do you know what I mean? Just an arm and a leg and a face sticking out the middle of the battlements. Just, oh, what's going on, right? And now we'll keep all that quiet. We'll keep HAARP quiet. Yeah, what's HAARP? Oh, it's an antenna array, right? That can cause earthquakes, tsunamis, manipulate the weather, can basically cause droughts, thunderstorms, and earthquakes. But hey, we don't want to talk about that because, you know, I'm using the wrong fucking pronoun. But hey, it's all right because we're living in a dystopian world now where we're seeing it very visually that an Orwellian, unelected group of individuals get to basically rob you of every aspect of what it is to be human and unique and express yourself, have you into some fucking ghoulish concentration camp where they've got a microchip in your head where they can reprogram if you have thoughts just like mine. Fuck them. But hey, it's where you place yourself. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. So if we know all that, right, and we can still find a smile on our face and say, hey, come and get me, big boy, because life's just peachy, then you're winning.
You know, another thing, because you brought the Tartarian Empire, right?
I bought a lot more than that.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just picking up on that one. It's a funny thing. Funny. It's not funny. But there was someone presenting the fact, actually filming at the Chinese Wall, you know, big Chinese Wall. And the guy presented the fact that it's nothing to do with it. It's not even built by the Chinese. The way it looks.
We lost you there, Marius.
Huh?
We lost you there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. And what it shows that, you know, the side where it has these.
Do you want me to break it down for you, Marius?
1 second. No, don't break it down. The part where actually it shows where the archers were actually it faces China, which that means that wall was built by the Tartarians to defend themselves from the Chinese. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting fact.
Hold on, mate. So you just exposed?
I haven't exposed anything. I just presented a fact.
It's there for people to see. It's there for people to see. The battlements face China, not outwardly, as any battlements would be.
Now, what was that movie with Matt Damon?
Just hold it right there, Yanni. Just hold it right there.
The Wall.
Just hold it right there because now it's that time. You know, it's that particular time. It's the time where, you know, we introduce our wonderful big brother, you know, the one and only, the wise, the caring, the creative musician, producer, the wonderful Ihani with, you know, tip of the day from Ihani.
Thank you very much, my learned colleague Marius, my brother Marius, and brother Carl for having this. Thank you yet again. Tip of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. And what is the tip of the day? Well, as my learned colleague mentioned about the detoxification of food. Tip of the day would be to start to have a clue. So first of all, tip of the day, your tap water is poisonous, yeah? Anybody want to prove me wrong, go ahead. But if you live, for example, in the United States, with the help of ewg.org, you will find the most toxins in your local water. Let's go from there. Now consider this. Consider all these products that, again, my own colleague mentioned, right, of processing plants. I mean, all these things are now being made with water. You see baked beans in tins. You see this, that, and the other tins. They boil ravioli in tins. And what do they use? They use water. Do you know where the water comes from, and do they filter it, ladies and gentlemen? Yes or no? We don't know. But if you have a taste bud like me and a nose like me, then you will have tasted chlorine in bread. You will have tasted chlorine in those dodgy ass beans that weren't Heinz. You will have tasted chlorine in certain things like the Fanta, the fountain at a little pizza joint where they're giving you like a 7-Up or something for your child. You taste it, you smell, you realise that the water that is mixing with the gas and then the syrup is not filtered because you can smell it. It's tap water. Or the young lady who comes and puts down a glass of water in front of you with some lemon in and some ice. And when you remove the ice and the lemon and you wait for a moment, you go ahead and smell. And guess what you can smell? Chlorine. Unless it's filtered. All you can turn around and ask them, is your water filtered? They have to answer you correctly, yes or no. Your tongue will tell you. So, tip of the day, be aware of detoxification, because it's be aware of your detoxification, because toxification just in your food system is everywhere. I am actually finishing writing a book about the detoxification of the species, the detoxification of ourselves, and part of it will cover the food side of things. But ladies and gentlemen, I just spoke about water only. Water, the first thing. That's the thing that you're showering in. That's the thing that you're bathing in. Your swimming pool. Unless you've got some massive filter, a whole house filter, let me add, so they can get rid of everything. And you're diving into what is essentially toxic water. Your children, they're swimming, doing laps in toxic water. That little Jimmy's going in, he's coming up, he's doing a handstand. When he comes up, guess what he's spouting out of his water? The same toxic water that he's swimming in. Ladies and gentlemen, do you think that your city could do a little better? Tip of the day, be alert to what's going in your body. I'm starting with water, and I'm going to stop there so we can continue on our conversation, ladies and gentlemen.
Brilliant, mate, brilliant. Love that. The necessity of all life, water, you know, and that's under attack as well. Right, but don't take my word for it. And I know I've said, for some of you, I may have said some outlandish, crazy things this evening. Don't believe anything I say, believe me. All right?
That's why make sure your toothpaste.
Hang on. Right, yeah, honestly, don't believe things I say. Do your own. Do your own. Look it up, right? For all intents and purposes, I've been talking utter nonsense, right? But here, right, remember this. Right, and this goes out to the powers that be as well, right? Well, I know that you don't care fundamentally what people say. Well, they don't, right? They are concerned about with what people can prove, right? So you'll have lots of people saying outlandish, crazy stuff, right? And nothing really happens, right? But those that have got the tickets and the receipts and can show you X, Y, and Z and prove it in a court of law, well, they're the ones that are in danger, all right? And so that being said, right, so they don't care. Right, so I'm not necessarily sorry if anybody was triggered. Right, but I am going to give you something what they don't like. Right? I am going to give you something what they don't like. Over the past few 100 years, 100 years or so, right, from all kinds of places in the world, there's been fabulous doctors and beautiful minds and beautiful souls that have shown people the power of the placebo, right? Cured crazy ailments with the right diet, natural, organic, healthy food, seagrass, all kinds of beautiful mineral-rich foods. A total detox from the toxified franking foods that we've been discussing. You do that coupled with a knowing of the research of the placebo effect, the power that the human consciousness has over matter itself. Doesn't matter what they're doing, doesn't matter what they're trying to chuck into you, because the mind is your most powerfulest weapon.
Hmm?
Remember that. Go ahead. But yeah, don't listen to me because I talk a lot shy.
Yeah, I was just going to be sarcastic a bit and say, just make sure your toothpaste has some fluoride in it to whiten your teeth, because you're going to spit in your sink, the water is going to drain it down into your drainage, that's going to go to the to being recycled and sent back to you with the fluoride in it, and you can drink it.
I'm being really kind of superficial here, right? Just like really shallow, right? This whole turkey teeth shit.
So
I
what?
should come at that. I should come at that a bit better. This Hollywood ice white paper teeth.
What are we talking about here?
What the pearly whites? The new trend.
New trend. New trend.
Fashion for teeth.
New or old? You mean no? They've been doing it ever since. Listen, in the States, they've been doing it for decades.
It's just bizarre.
Isn't it?
Some of them are just beyond white, and it's like I've never seen a creature in all of nature that has that pixel.
And you know what's interesting? It weakens your teeth.
Well, some people actually get perfectly healthy teeth, right? Grind them down to these ghoulish reptile stubs, right? And then put fake ones in. Because they want to look pretty like. So, as you age, your face changes. You change.
Yeah.
If you get this unchangeable fixture, right, by the time you end up looking like a tea bag, which we all do. I say we all do, it's a privilege denied to so many, right? By the time you're going to get to looking like an old prune tea bag, you're going to have these peculiar fake face. I mean, I don't know what made me go down here. Why am I in this hole? Gentlemen, I hand it over to you.
One of the reasons as to why we are seeing this, it's because simply people want what they can't have. They were shown what they couldn't have. So before borders were opened, before TV land, before film, everybody was in their own spot. Think about it. Mostly people in their own spot. The international, the wealthy, all those that actually were on, those who were actually working the ships were the ones that travelled. But that was it. No one else really knew much about anything else apart from what was going on in their neck of the woods. Right? Media covered what was going on in their neck of the woods, what was going on in the village, because that was the more important thing. International news was broadcast once in a blue moon, especially if the further you go back. It's mostly local, right? No TVs to see the different types of people. That surely, where are they from? What are they? Are they human? They look different to us. Yeah, that was all. Back in the day. Yeah. But that happened. But prior to that, it wasn't happening. So think about that for a moment, and think about what was influencing what was happening in the various parts of the world at that time. Everything was balanced, right? People were eating normal food, okay, right? There was no food processing plants. Even back in the day, in old, before the plague, before the Great Plague of London, even then it wasn't processed foods. There might not have been a lot of food for those that didn't have the money to have it, but it wasn't processed. Right? They ate vegetables that were not processed with shite because nobody was growing it to that level where it was pesticides everywhere. Nobody needed to have the shiny carrots or the perfect looking carrots, because the people that own the houses never did that. They didn't go and get the groceries. That's what upstairs and downstairs is about. downstairs, those people that lived there went and got the groceries. They bought the stuff from the market. They found the meat. They came. They processed it. They cooked it. All those wealthy people, all that ever happened was it was served to them. So the need, what I'm saying is the need to go shopping, the need to see good-looking vegetables only started to happen when the upstairs downstairs thing disappeared and people were now taking on those responsibilities themselves, or were at least going along with as times changed. The matriarch went along with the nanny, with the house maid, to make sure. And now you're looking at places like, oh, these look dodgy, and because they've got money and influence, all of a sudden you've got agriculture's big opportunity to make everything look the same. And as soon as you open up the doors to that, in comes people like Bayer, Monsanto, and there you go. Because artificially, they're trying to do what? Create perfection. Remember what I said at the very beginning. Okay, so you see where that's going, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not, okay, fair enough. No, I think that maybe that was a little bit too outlandish to beyond some people. But I wanted to bring it nicely round to that. Because when you think about it, look at the food place now. If you're in the West, where do you go to get high quality vegetables and fruit? Now, if you're in places like somewhere in Africa, Indonesia, India and stuff, if you're in maybe if I'm in Morocco or something, I know I can get fresh, unsullied oranges, tomatoes, almonds, olives, bread that is not filled with a bunch of additives. And I'm good. And I can nourish myself across a journey across Morocco and not feel the need for any kind of burger or any kind of dessert or any kind of main course, in fact. Just sack of almonds, big bag of olives, oranges, stuff, and off we go. Maybe a couple of tins of sardines. I love sardines. So a couple of tins of sardines. I can see the ship out at sea on the coast where I'm staying that's got the cannery on. The guys that allow me to stay in their house bring the fish back. It's the same fish they're fishing out at sea. That I can do. Saucy stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Sauce it all. Well, we can't do the other stuff though.
You just think it's about that time?
What do you mean about what time? What about that time to call it? Or well, you running off now?
Yes, I'm running off.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, that's cool. Fair enough. Well then, yeah, rock and roll.
Well, that was a very pleasant conversation. We took some wild and weird turns, especially by myself. Yeah, I know I did. But it is what it is, isn't it? I think what can we conclude from this evening's discussion?
What can we conclude? Conclude that much work is required. But we can conclude that no work is required also.
I like that. I like that.
The one thing that it was presented to me is the fact that if I personally want people to accept me for who I am or what I am, I have to learn myself to accept others for who they are and what they are.
I'm chuckling, right? Because your opening was if I wanted people to accept me, right? I get that, right? But then I was presented with the inner monologue. It's like, I don't care if people accept me. I've gone beyond that. You know, if you vibe with me, cool, high fives. If you don't, all the love to you. High fives, you get high five too. You know, there ain't no hate. But I don't need you to accept me. I don't need to be understood. I don't need to be like got in that way. It's not necessary. The reason being, I get me.
So,
You know, I understand me. And the moment you can comprehend your own self-worth, then the acceptance of others is neither here or there.
something comes up as you say this. I've been made aware of. So it's interesting as you say that, because there's a character that I've been made aware of who, for all intents and purposes, says the same thing. He doesn't care what people think about him, right? Doesn't care how people see him, right? You know, he doesn't care if he does his stuff by himself. But he's a plonker. He's a complete plonker. He's a complete plonker, though. That's the problem. See, and now someone say, well, how can you say that if you're not? It's an observation from where I stand. If I stand over here, in fact, it doesn't matter whether I'm driving past, if I'm running past, walking, doesn't matter. Overheard, someone tells me about the situation. It's a plonker all the way. It's just a plonker all the way. There's nothing. There's never. Oh no. Okay, well, hold on. There's maybe been a couple times, 2-3 times, right, where I've heard something and it was a nice thing. And not only that, he's actually good at he's good at his job. He's very good at his job, right? He's very good at his job stuff. But you know, still a plonker though. That's the thing though. I mean, nothing else. That's it. He's just good at his job, and that's it. But the rest of it's a plonker. And what's interesting is that I hear you say, yeah, but I don't care. And when I look at you, you're not a plonker. I look at you, you're an understanding, well-read individual whose acceptance of himself, others around them, and the ability to be themselves and to be himself, and others be themselves around them is vastly paramount, important part of the core of who you happen to be. So, because you've done the work and you get it. But this fella hasn't done none of it. None, zero, nope, nothing. That's all. Zero. And yet somehow, in some way, shape or form, still thrives. So
there's a complex nature of it all, isn't it? Eh?
Yes, it is, mate. Yes, it is. It's extremely so, because I hear what you say, and in all of the teachings the teachings of self, there comes a point where it is our voice that has to be the loudest. Our internal monologue has to be louder than someone's external rhetoric, right? Or the voice that guides us within has to be loudest than the people that say, "No, over there, man. No, go that way." You know. So there is that. But that's because one has learned from many experiences historically, and as such has managed to grow from there. But if you haven't grown, you're not growing. And you're literally, no matter what, no matter who looks at you, you don't look good. You don't sound good. You're just not. What then? What then, gentlemen?
What then, indeed? That's the question, isn't it? What then? But that being said, it's been an absolutely fabulous conversation. I hope you have all enjoyed yourselves, you audible voyeurs out there in audio land. We're still waiting to let us know. We've had some beautiful feedback recently, so big shout out to you. You know who you are. Thank you for the feedback. It helps to know that you're at least enjoying the product. The myself or oneself and these two other beautiful souls put together. That being said, nothing but love and light to you and yours. Don't take us all too seriously. The world's serious enough as it is.
Sorry. I'm just joking.
Until next week. Or, no, hang on, before we go, check us out on the old IG. We do a live on there. We're trying to give you a bit of visual to go with the voice, etc. And if you want to interact with us, get us over there. Follow the space for further information. If you're following us on one of the social platforms, we will let you know. Look for the notifications. And if you're catching us on those other platforms, don't forget to click that bell icon and be notified.
Gents,
Notified.
it might not be a bad idea for one of us to get some.
Stop growling.
For one of us to get the House of Lords IG. Just saying.
Yes.
Just saying.
I suppose it would help.
And just because I'm goody two shoes, me alone. I'm just sorry. I'm just taking the piss.
All this eye focus malarkey.
I know.
Well, you didn't say the eyes, you said the eye. Who's that eye?
No, okay, so we have acquired thus far Twitter and what's it? And YouTube. Yep. So it's Twitter and YouTube for the which are actual the House of Lords. I think we should. And as I'm just gonna say this. I just done those two, yeah. So boy, you guys, man, yeah, catch up, yeah. Simple as that. I'll say it like that. So that way we guide people directly to where we're going, boys. Come on, makes sense, yeah.
Yes.
So
well, anyway,
I'm not going to put this episode out until one of you tells me that you've secured the Insta or something, or whichever one Insta. Because if we have an IG Insta, we're good, man.
Was that a conditioning?
It's not conditioning. It's not conditioning. It's just part of. No, it's okay. If it is conditioning, it's because within the aspect of branding and within the aspect of us, finding our feet here in this journey, we really do need that.
Fine.
And I've got enough passwords saved already.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right, no worries.
All right, cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Been real.
It's been a pleasure, as always.
With us on the journey, like I told you. Were you with us on the journey, ladies and gentlemen? This is the part of the journey too. We told you we wanted to bring you with us. Hopefully you're enjoying the ride.
Well, until next time, have a wonderful time.
We're shit at ending the show.
Yeah. That's because we are just transparent.
Right.
We're not trying to be someone that we're not, or something that we're not.
Classic. All right, guys.
All right.
All right.
All right.